What's up, guys? Today I'm going to talk about a recent experience I had that completely changed the whole trajectory of my life. So recently in December of 2022, about 2 months ago, I went to Mexico to perform a work paper review over a group audit that I'm currently doing. If you're not aware or you're new to accounting or audit, or maybe you're a student, a group audit is where essentially you have a company that's a multinational company that's across various jurisdictions, various countries, and there's certain parts of the audit that, like, let's say you have, for my example, I have a U.S.-based company that has a huge operation in Mexico, whereby the Mexican entity, the company's financials in Mexico, are material to the overall consolidated financial statements of the company. Hopefully I didn't lose anyone there. I'll try to break that down. If you want me to explain group audits, I'm happy to do that. So my company here, based in the U.S., has a huge operation in Mexico. That Mexican entity needs to be audited for me to issue consolidated financials. Someone needs to audit the work of that Mexican entity. Well, that's kind of how this story comes into play. I sent group audit instructions to my Mexican counterparts in Mexico on the audit team to audit the entity in Mexico. That's part of my client. That's part of my client's consolidated business. Well, when that happened, obviously I need to get comfortable that the component auditors that I'm sending them instructions to do certain work on our behalf and that we sign an opinion on, I need them to do certain things and certain requisites that fulfill U.S. GAAP and U.S. gas standards, right? Just to not bore you guys. And when that happens, usually someone, an expat or someone on boots on the ground of the firm in the U.S. has to review the work papers of the component auditor to make sure that everything they did is up to standard, essentially, and you make sure that all the work they did conforms to the requirements that you required of the component auditors to get comfortable with the entity's financial statements in another country. Again, hopefully I didn't lose anyone there, but so that's kind of what happened. So I sent group audit instructions to Mexico. My Mexican counterparts audited the entity. And when we're going through planning, the expat that was in Mexico City, that's part of the U.S. The firm that I'm at. He said, "Hey, well, you know what? I'm actually repatriating back to the U.S. I'm not going to be able to do the work paper review. I'm working towards becoming a partner now, and I just don't have the bandwidth. I don't have the time. So I'm in a conundrum now. I'm like, okay, well, what the heck am I going to do, right? So by the way, I'm going to have this ghost. This thing is the best. So he ended up telling me, well, you speak the language. My parents are Mexican, so I do speak Spanish. I'm fluent. And obviously I understand GAAP. I understand group audit methodology. I wouldn't consider myself a super expert, but I've been doing it for 9-10 years now, where I definitely consider myself a specialist for sure. So he ends up telling me, hey, if you're comfortable and obviously the firm is comfortable, why don't you go out there and perform the work paper review yourself? I'm like, well, that actually sounds like a pretty cool idea. Maybe I can do that. So obviously I ran it through everyone internally at my firm, obviously my group engagement team, and everyone was comfortable, and I went down there. I went down there for 2 days. I showed up to Mexico City on Sunday, stayed in Polanco. I showed up on Sunday night, and then essentially Monday and Tuesday, I was going to be working with the Mexico team, reviewing the work papers and obviously going through different conversations. And when I initially got there on Sunday, I didn't really know what to expect. I'm, a little nervous, a little timid. Like, obviously I speak Spanish, but I've never done professional business Spanish, so it's very different. I'm an LA kid, right? So business Spanish in Mexico is a lot different. So, I'm a little nervous, a little timid, a little scared, but when I get there on Monday, I meet the team, and it was probably the most heartfelt welcoming I've ever had. It was such a beautiful experience. The team was so welcoming, so heartwarming. I mean, I'm Mexican, so that's just the way we are, right? I mean, we're very lovey, we're very touchy, we kiss everyone. That's just the way Mexicans are, and I can say that because I'm Mexican, and I know the culture, and my parents are Mexican, so they instilled that in me. So right off the bat, I understood the culture. I understood how they move, how they talk, the way we say certain things. And it was an overall good experience. So the first part of Monday, kind of met the team, just getting to know them, how they operate the firm in Mexico, how business is in Mexico, certain laws, certain requirements, just such a complete, enriching, and technical experience that I've never had in my life. And then obviously then we get into the work papers. We go over the actual technical side of accounting and audit and what they did. And I was very, very, very impressed with just how professional they were, how technical they were. I mean, just overall, all around, I was just impressed with the professionalism that they had in Mexico City. And, at night we had dinner. It was a beautiful experience. Long story short, on Tuesday, a very similar day, they took me to a nice lunch. We obviously did the work. We read the work papers. They took me for dinner again. It was just such a enriching experience that I've never had in my life. And one thing that, it sucks that I regret, and something that I do regret from my 20s, is I didn't really travel a lot. I was so fixated on working and, buying my real estate and just investing. And although I'm great and I'm very happy and fortunate where I'm at professionally and financially, there are certain aspects that I do regret, and one of them is not traveling, especially to my parents' native country, Mexico. It's unfortunate that I've never really been, other than the trip I took in December. I've never gone, and the 2 days I had out there were life changing. It really was something that really opened my eyes and showed me and made me so proud of being Mexican and where I come from. And not only that, just learning the language from a professional perspective was something that just completely opened my eyes. Being able to deal with my Mexican counterparts in Mexico City, just overall, I can't explain to you the intangibles that I got from that experience. Well, kind of fast forward, when I left on Wednesday morning, it was a very bittersweet moment because it was such a beautiful experience for me on a professional and personal level. And when I left, I remember telling myself in the plane, I'm like, man, if those 2 days I grew exponentially as a person and as a professional, man, it'd be so cool to be out here for like maybe a year or two. And fast forward, certain calls were made, certain connections were made. I built great relationships down there. And, the opportunity kind of was brought to me if I wanted to maybe apply for the expat role and be based out of Mexico City for 2 years. And, I applied, I got my letters of recommendation. I did everything I needed to do from a prerequisite standpoint. And now it's official. I'm officially the Latin American expat based out of Mexico City for the next 2 years, starting in September of 2023. And I am very excited. And even saying that, announcing that is something that, I can't really believe. I'm still kind of trying to wrap my head around it. I don't think it's really hit me yet, especially that I'm in the midst of busy season, and it's definitely been a tough one for sure. It's my 9th or 10th one. I don't even know how many I've done now, and they never get easy. And I can say this one's definitely been it's been tough and it's been stressful, but like everyone, we get through them. And I have a long-term goal of being a partner, and that's not going to change for the foreseeable future. And I'm so excited for this new opportunity, but it goes to show you, and I make this video, I make this podcast to say that this only happened because I focused on becoming the best version of myself from an accounting, audit, and professional and personal perspective. I've always just really focused on becoming a master at audit and accounting, and things happen, and I never would have imagined having this experience where, the firm is essentially taking care of everything for me, and I'm moving to a different country for 2 years where I'm going to experience, where my parents come from. I'm going to experience a new culture. I'm going to be traveling all over Latin America doing this thing called audit. Like, I never in a million years when I was in college, never would have imagined just learning that debits are on the left and credits are on the right. 10 years later, I'd be leaving to a different country for 2 years with pretty much everything taken care of and just the opportunity to grow on a personal and a professional level. I would have never imagined this. And again, sometimes it's really hard to see the opportunities come. It's really hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel, especially I remember when I was studying for my CPA exam, it was the toughest aspect of my life. And I know some people make it like it's not really a big deal, but to me it was, because I come from a very, blue collar family that no one ever became a CPA or no one ever, did these other things other than, labor work. And for me, it was a big deal. And I never imagined when I was studying for the exam, a few years later when, time goes like this, that I'd have this opportunity now that I'm going to be moving the country. So I'm super excited. I'm super stoked. I really can't believe it. And I can't wait to document the whole journey here on YouTube and continue to grow this channel and continue to show you guys that even though I do preach, about public accounting, overall, my message is to learn a skill, to get really good at something so that you can parlay those skills into whatever it is you want to do. Although I would love for all of you to become auditors and become partners and whatever, consulting, tax, whatever it is you want to do long term. Although I'd love that for you guys, I know that's not the reality, and that's okay. That's totally fine. Even if you're in public accounting for 2, 3, 5, 20 years, regardless, if you're able to learn a skill where you can build a life for yourself and a foundation, and then you can parlay that into starting your own business, into working for another company, into working for a company that maybe aligns more with your core values. I promise you that that's the biggest thing for me. And I just want to show you that I'm a testament to working hard, developing a skill, and you never know where life's going to take you. Again, if you would have asked me 2 months ago if I would have go live in Mexico City, I'd tell you you're crazy, because what am I going to go do out there? Why would I even go leave the country? I mean, all I know is LA, and I'm born and raised in LA, and that's all I know. But having this opportunity now, it's something that I don't take lightly. It's something that I'm looking forward to. It's something that I'm super excited about. And I know that I'm going to become a completely different man through it. I swear, I tell myself I'm like leaving a boy, and I'm going to come back a man for sure. And I'm super excited. Again, I'm going to be documenting the whole thing here. And again, I just want to show you guys that through hard work, through belief, opportunities will come your way. I promise you. Whatever, you don't have to, even though I am a believer in God and I hold my faith very near and dear to me, if you work hard at something and you really focus on it and you really commit yourself to doing something, I promise you, one way or another, it might take a day, it might take 2 years, it might take 5, it might take 10 in my opinion, in my instance, but eventually good opportunities will come your way and things will just happen for you. All right, guys, that's going to be the video for today. If you found value in this video, please make sure to smash the like button below for the YouTube algorithm. Until next time, you know what it is. Work hard and dress well. Peace.